Of that little chant. It says so much. And here we are today, and welcome. And today what we get to look at is faith, present faith. And of course faith is no use to us at all if it's not present. So present faith just means we have to be in the moment and available to it showing up. Now, there are so many definitions of faith. As there is every person on this plane, we all have a different sense and sensibility about what we think about faith and what faith is to each one of us. But when you go to the dictionary, it's wonderful. It says it's the transcending of doubt into truth. And I love that. For the dictionary to come up with that kind of a definition, I was impressed. I really was impressed. And so, of course, my favorite definition of faith is what we read in Hebrews, and it's chapter 11, verse 1. And it says, faith is the substance of things hoped for, and the evidence of faith or something, rather, unseen. The evidence of things unseen. Now, if ever there was a statement of the law of assumption, that's it. It is the substance of things hoped for, the good I desire, the evidence of things unseen, the good I desire in its unseen state to begin with. And it's a fabulous metaphysical definition of what the law of assumption is all about. I mean, it's easy to have faith in what we see and what we can taste and feel and touch and do all of that with. But it's not so easy to have faith when there's no evidence backing up what it is that you believe can be. None whatsoever. So that remains always my favorite definition of faith. And there are many other definitions too. And what is it? It's simply a substance. Faith is a substance, and it grows out of amazing grace. It's the result of amazing grace. Because I realize I'm a graced and blessed person, I'm filled with that divine essence and nature of spirit. And that is that grace that is everywhere present. It fills everything. It is in everything, which means it's in me. And out of that, this faith essence is what says to me at times, this is possible, this is doable, this can be done. And then the feeling that says yes to that rises up within one, and we go for it, and we're open to this thing happening because we've had this whole experience that although everything out there says it's not possible, everything that I am and is here is saying, oh, but yes, it is. And I have that sense and sensibility about it, and that faith in it, and that belief in it, and nothing and no one is going to knock me off of what I have been divinely inspired to feel. And it is a stirring within us. Faith is a divine stirring within us that says, well, why not? Why not? And why not you? Why not? Of course it is possible, if of course it's a good thing and it's doing no harm. This is what we're talking about. And always in the divine realm, when we are desiring a good, it's always for something that does no harm. That does no harm and is going to be a blessing in my own life and in the lives of others. Because your calling and my calling is every single day of our lives when we wake up, Moira, today do no harm. Do no harm. Do not do any harm today. Get a grip right now, get poised, and go out there as the blessing that you're called to be and do no harm. It's not, now I'm going out there today to do no harm. To take a good grip on yourself and say, listen, girl, you're going out there now and you're going out as a blessing, and don't mess it up. Do no harm. Are you listening? Are you hearing? Do no harm. That's your calling today, and the rest will fall in line. If I do no harm, it means I'm just in that state of goodness. And because I am, everywhere I am is a blessed situation, regardless of the chaos that might seem to be around me. But nevertheless, if my intention is, I got up today to do no harm, then the blessing will come to me and it'll come through me. Doesn't mean that there won't be aggravating situations and annoying circumstances and all of that. The odds are there will be, because as soon as you decide to be good and whole and wholesome, everything around you will test you to see if you really mean it, or are you just pretending? Is this just something you're fancying today? No. Not to be shocked or surprised by that. The faith in knowing that life is on my side, the universe is supporting me, and that indeed God's presence is with me. For some weird, strange reason, no matter how I am, God's presence is with me and never leaves me. And I can just tune into that intelligence, that light, and that life to sort out anything that's going on if I remember to, if I'm awake enough, if I'm alert enough to do that. Now again, miracles are associated with faith, aren't they? Always miracles are associated with faith. I mean, how many times do we hear in the scriptures, your faith has made you whole, your faith has healed you, go, your faith has made you whole. Faith, faith, faith. So a miracle is described by Neville as a word that is used by people who have no faith or don't understand it because of the results, the work of faith. People who don't fully understand faith call things miracles. But they're not miracles. They're the result of faith. Amazing grace, they're the result, for many of us, of the law of assumption. We have assumed the good that we wish to experience, and because we have assumed the feeling of that, and we've let ourselves think it is already so, and we've given ourselves up to it, it happens. I am spending so much time on the law of assumption. I hope we're noticing that. Because really, it's the key to everything, 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 everything. It's the key to your well-being and mine too. It's the key to us breaking through beyond the lack, the limitation, and anything else of negativity that we might be thinking or feeling about ourselves. And it's the way to go about settling all the affairs in our lives. Really, that's the way of it. And as I say, a pure statement of the law of assumption is faith, the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things unseen. Now that means you got to take it seriously, and so do I. You either believe this or you don't believe it. We don't just read them anymore and say, oh, isn't that a nice thought? And then go on about our business and forget about it. We read something like that slaps us up the side of the head and say, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to get from this? What is the message in this for me? And how is this supposed to change me, transform me, move me ahead? If something jumps out at you like that, that's what it's supposed to be doing. But it needs your cooperation and your availability and your open receptivity to it, not just taking your little journal and writing it down in your journal and making a note of it. Here's where we register it in all of our being, and then we work upon it and use it to our good. Now, let me tell you, all of us have experienced failure with regard to the law of assumption. We've all heard the words, we've read the words, we've listened to the words. And we have endeavored to follow the formula. This, 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 this. We love steps. Take these steps and all is well. 3 steps, 10 steps, 12 steps, 4 steps, 7 steps, 9 steps. Do this and everything is guaranteed. And actually, it's true if we could adhere to every single step and follow through. But somehow or another we do better at this step than that step or whatever. And we don't go wholeheartedly into it. Those of us who do have the results, and they're magnificent. They're magnificent. But it's a whole process. It's a whole process, and you cannot do it overnight. And just because I suddenly wake up and decide, today I'm going to be a good girl, I've been an awful, obnoxious girl in the past, and now I'm going to turn myself around, behave myself, and just because I make that decision, and all of a sudden it's not happening, and I get disappointed and I say, see, that doesn't work, is ridiculous. It's taken our whole lives to get us to where we are now. It's going to take a little bit of time to turn ourselves around and mend and fix and heal whatever it is we need to mend and fix and heal. Okay, so failure is something that happens, but you and I have to know why it happens. Why is it when I assume the thinking and the feeling of the good that I desire already in its place, already fulfilled, and I have faith in it, and I support it, and so on, and it doesn't happen? What is the reason for that? Well, the experts tell us, the spiritual experts say, the reason for the failure is because, yes, we have assumed the feeling. Yes, we're allowing ourselves to think about it constantly and support it in mind. Yes, we're going about feeling that this is so. But if we're not going about it with a naturalness of grace and ease that has helped us to transcend all doubt and all fear around it, it's not going to happen. If you and I haven't let go of the struggling and the striving and the doubt and the fear every now and again and turn and twist when we get that pittiness in our solar plexus and we go, oh God, I hope it's so. Well, we've just cancelled out our beautiful work that we've done knowing it is so, and we have to start from scratch. So what's required from you, what's required from me, is to have the faith that transcends doubt, transcends fear, stops struggling, stops striving, and stops telling the universe how to go about it. So in other words, when we assume the thinking and the feeling of the good already so, we go about our business gracefully, naturally, easily, gladly, knowing everything's being taken care of and all is well. And that, I don't know about you, but for me, is the most deepest challenge. To absolutely know it is so when your arm is still aching, your skin is still scratching, whatever it is. To be glad, to be happy, to be rejoicing, to be celebratory, to know the appearance, yes, is there. But I have transcended the doubt and the fear around appearances, situations, and conditions. That's why we fail. We don't get to that part, we don't get into the grace, we don't get into the ease, we don't get into the naturalness of knowing that all is well. The same way as we would when we go to the dentist, we have a toothache, we go, the dentist does her thing, and then we're taken care of, and we go away thinking, well, that's handled, that's taken care of. Don't have to worry about that again. Even though he'll say to you, that part may be tender for a while and you might have some discomfort and you might even feel a little bit of pain, but that's normal and it's natural and it's to be expected. So when I get the little bit of discomfort, I'm not saying, oh my God, it didn't work, it didn't happen, I'm going to be as much now with this challenge as I was before I went to the doctor and allowed him to drill into me as well on top of that, and so on. We don't do that. We have to have the same ease and comfort and naturalness around assuming the good that we desire that we would have when we get the paper cut and it's as painful as all get up, but we know, hey, it's a paper cut, it'll heal. Especially, and quicker if you put a little something on it that makes it sting even more, but you know that's going to help it to heal. My mother loved iodine. So that's what we got in all our scrapes and scratches and so on. And you and I must have the same faith in knowing that little thing is going to heal, as painful as it is, and I don't have to worry about it because it's been handled. Now, it doesn't matter to spirit, whether it's a paper cut or an incurable disease, it doesn't matter as far as spirit is concerned. because there's no big or little or great or small in spirit. Spirit can just as well heal an incurable disease as a paper cut in you, working through you, if you are in the faith that allows that to happen. If you can stop the worry and stop the concern and go about your business knowing this is passing, it's being handled. That requires an immense poise, an immense balance of all of our aspects. And that's not going to happen if you and I do not spend time in the presence, nurturing that relationship to the point that that's the kind of faith we can have in its power to work unto us the good that we desire. It's not going to happen. Every time, once in a while, when my back is up against the wall and I throw a few prayers out there to whomever is listening and hearing and hope it lands on the right ear and that I will be responded to or that my number will be picked that day. It's not going to happen if that's the relationship we have with our source. And that's the relationship many of us have had for a long time. We never really got deep down intimate until our backs were up against the wall. And then all of a sudden, we think, it's the last straw, we may as well go there. Can't do it that way. If you want to be able to be your true essence and your true self manifesting on this plane, the only way it's going to happen is to keep in touch with that which is greater than you are constantly and continuously. We are told over and over again, pray without ceasing, and we're not talking about saying formulas, or formulae rather. It's not prayer formula they're talking about here. They're talking about a sense and a sensibility of knowing something greater than I am is working with me, working in me, working through me, is with me in all times, in all circumstances, and in all situations, good, bad, and indifferent. And I can call upon that power and that presence and know that it will respond to me immediately. Now, I have to grow that kind of faith that knows who I am, who I am, who I am. What I am, what I am, what I am, and whose I am, whose I am, whose I am. You hear me say this all the time. I will keep reminding myself and you until we get it, by Jiminy Crickets. And get it we will, sooner or later, and I'd rather it be sooner. So what do you want? What do you want? What's going on? It all boils down to this, my dear ones, that all of us, to some extent and some degree, are disappointed because we are not yet the person we want to be. We are not yet the person we want to be. And yet, everything that is spiritual tells us, you are already the person you desire to be. So work from the back to the front of that. Because we see a beginning and a march and a journey and a destination and an end in order to become the person that we really thought we would or want to be. Now, in metaphysics, we do it the reverse way. We start at the end. We assume the thinking and the feeling of who it is we want to be from the end vision and the end result. And that is why imagination is our saving grace. Because imagination is what creates our experience in life and in living. So imagination is the key. And so when you ask, well, from the time I assume the feeling of the desire already fulfilled to the time that it happens, what happens in the meantime? Well, when it happens is proportionate to your faith that it is already so. That it is already so. And Ernest Holmes says that those who manifest the greatest and the quickest are those who are lovers of life. lovers of all creation. And that love is indeed the ultimate in realizing the good that we desire. So the more that we want to experience and express something, the deeper and more profound must be our intention to love. And when we are doing no harm, we are loving. There's no doubt about that. That's the best way we can love, is do no harm and have that feeling of awe and respect for all of creation. All of creation. It is written in the Gnostic Gospels, and the Gnostic Gospels are Gospels that are not in the Bible. They're not in the New Testament. They're outside of that. There are other books, other Gospels. And Jesus is reputed in these Gospels to have said, you search for God in heaven and in earth, and you do not know who is right before you. And you do not know that because you do not search into this very moment now. Into this very moment now. Another wise person once said, the good that you desire is straight in front of your face. It has been given to you right now in this moment. I mean, how often do we need to hear these things to get it? Now, 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 now. Presence, presence, presence. This moment, now. It's the only time anything can happen. Faith is in the moment always. And faith is not something we pull out of a box. It's not just a part-time energy that we draw up when we need it. Faith is that amazing tool that is always present in our spiritual kit, that is with us all of the time. We draw it up from within ourselves, from the light and the illumination within ourselves that is infinite intelligence, and then it settles us. That's what faith does. The object of faith is to settle us, comfort us, soothe us, calm us, get us into equilibrium, get us into poise, so that we can be awake enough and alert enough to be open and receptive to knowing and allowing that the good that I desire is here in this moment for me, and I am supposed to and I can have it. But it has to come from that state of absolute trust in my source and in its creative process. It has to come from absolute trust in my source and its creative process in my life. And even though sometimes that will make no sense at all, what's going on, I still must stay in the trust, in the awareness, in the faith, in the belief of knowing I am in good hands, everything is being taken care of, and all is well. So again, I ask you the question, what is it you want? Because whatever that is, you must be committed to it. And the more we have a deep and passionate desire and move upon the deep and passionate desire, the more we will begin to manifest the good that we know is there for us and we're supposed to have. Now remember, how can this be so? It can be so because we live in a finished creation. Creation is complete, it's finished. And every good thing that ever was, is, and will be is in it. Every good experience that you are supposed to have is already present in it. It's already there. Every dollar that you would like to have is already there in it. Now, your task and my task is to flesh it out. Flesh it out, give it embodiment, bring it into form through the way we think and feel and vision and see and imagine. We have to imagine it, we have to image it, we have to see it already in place in this finished creation. There it is, bundles and oodles of all kinds of great good there for me that I'm supposed to have. And then I must flesh it out by visioning it, seeing it and visioning it and seeing it so much that I begin to feel it, feel it, feel it. It's already there. It's already so. And I must flesh it out by so feeling and thinking. And it has to be. It must be. It must be. Our world is exactly what we see our world to be. Our world is exactly what we vision our world to be. Our world is exactly what we imagine it to be. Oh dear, I don't know about you. That means I have to be seeing things and visioning things and imaging things differently if I want a better world. This is to be done in your own life as an individual and in group life as a community vision. And you can't leave it to one person in a community to vision for everybody. Everybody is required to show up and participate. Start with ourselves this week. Let's start visioning and visioning and imaging and seeing and seeing and seeing. Good, 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 good. And every good you see for yourself, know at the end of it, I'm seeing this for everybody else too. Good, bad, and indifferent, though I may call everybody else, I'm seeing it for everybody else too. And then we'll be so extremely blessed. I'm telling you that the naturalness and the grace and the ease will flow. And you and I will be able to control, direct, and manage beautifully our precious lives. If it's going to be, dear ones, it's up to each and every one of us to be. So I'm knowing this week we're all set, we're all ready, we're laying the foundation now, and we're going to go forward knowing good and only good, thinking good and only good, feeling good and only good, and above all, doing good and only doing good, and no harm will happen to anything or anyone around me, and most particularly myself, when I do that. So, remember this, my dear ones, that you wouldn't be sitting in these seats today if you could not God realize, self-realize, wake up, get consciously conscious, and move into your next level of magnificent experience. You can do it, and that's why you are here, and so can I. And let us all say together, and so it is.